It's the Lean Into Artcast, a show where a couple visual storytellers get together, take a walk around a topic, try to break it down, look at it abstractly, then try to put it back together into some kind of useful thing that we can do something with. We think hard about visual storytelling, so you will too. My name is Jersey Droz, cartoonist and teaching artist. The other host is...
Hi, I'm Rob Stenzinger, coder, designer, and we have some special guests with us this evening, Jersey, which is awesome.
We do. I'm so excited to see who they are. Let's open that door and find out who's here with us. Lee Cherolis and Samantha Kyle. I wish I had like an audience applause track to play on the soundboard for that, right?
No doubt.
Jazz hands.
So, Lee Cherolis of Little Guardians. Let me pull up the Little Guardians website real quick. Fabulously drawn comic. Makes me sick to my stomach how good your ink lines are, Lee. Which I know is like the finest compliment you can pay to another cartoonist when you point out like how sad you feel when you look at their art, right?
Go on.
Moi. What's Little Guardians about? I'll flip through a few pages while you tell us what Little Guardians is.
Little Guardians is an all-ages fantasy adventure series about village kids fighting demons badly.
And there's a little bit of switched at birth stuff going on in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where it starts off. Just so that you know that the young boy being trained to be a guardian is not supposed to be. Like, we wanted to throw the normal kid into the training, and the one descended from guardians in tune with the spirit world is stocking shelves. So, and then the story kind of kicks off where they're both drawn into the craziness that's going on. So
the chosen one is stocking shelves while the Happy Gilmore character is off saving the world.
Oh, jeez. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
but it's got all these really cool demons, spirit animals, and just, I know it's never a good idea to sell a comic by saying like talking about the technical aspects, but man, oh man, you're inking this thing in Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
Those ink lines are just so silky smooth, and I don't know how you do it. I really don't. But fans of this show, like listeners of the Leaners who pay attention to the Leaners Artcast, probably get a little bit excited about technical prowess. So I think that they would enjoy it for that reason alone, to go check out littleguardianscomic.com and also what you do with the tones is really gorgeous. Oh, we should say that there's a Patreon too. Let's talk about the Patreon for a second, because you guys just hit a milestone.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, the Patreon. We put up. I think we launched it in December, and so we're 4 months in, and we hit our first goal. So that now the goal we set for ourselves was if we reach this amount, we will start paying a colorist to go back and convert Little Guardians to color from page 1 on the way up. So yeah, we've talked to our colorist, and he's working on it now. So it's really exciting.
That is pretty cool. Crowdfunding works.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that's at patreon.com/littleguardians. That's where you can find that. We will mention it again, I'm sure, during the discussion. Then we got to turn to Samantha.
Hi.
Hi, Samantha.
Oh, me.
Samantha Kyle of Random Assembly. Let me get your website up so we can look at that, because you are a cartoonist, a designer, and a Valkyrie.
Yes, I am a Valkyrie.
Valkyrie? Did I say it wrong?
I'm from Indiana. I say things weird. I don't know.
Okay, so I got your site here, randomassembly.com, pulled up, and I can look at some of the stuff. Will you explain to me what a Valkyrie is?
Well, last year I picked up a job working in one of our local comic book stores. And a Valkyrie is simply a lady who works in a comic book store or owns a comic book store. So, because it's strange, the comic book store culture, because it's largely seen as, there's dudes that work in comic book stores. And sometimes people go, oh, you're a girl, you don't know anything about comic books. So,
sadly,
yes, I believe you're not referring to the correct book reference.
And so is this where the Valkyrie metaphor comes in? Because then they're inherently, something happens mysteriously to these sorts of people that then their bodies have to be carried off the battlefield.
We're very
And off to,
For a while, I did have access to a backhoe, but I'm not going to go into that. No, a fantastic cartoonist from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Kate Leth, founded it a while ago. And she's like, hey, I work in a comic shop, and I'm a lady. Let's get all the ladies to band together, and we'll form an army of women that work in comic shops.
Yep.
And
So it's like a social network of comic store employees, and they kind of, I know they have a secret forum where they give each other support and feedback. And,
yes, you can't see it ever because you're not a Valkyrie.
but you can be a supporter of the Valkyries. There's T-shirts and buttons and pins and stuff.
And I believe
I am.
something's coming up soon where we're going to start getting Valkyrie specific variant covers. So like if you have a shop that a Valkyrie works at and you want a variant cover for something, you can only get it from a shop that has Valkyrie. You can't get it from a non-lady shop.
wow. So where does one go to learn more about this Valkyrie organization? And
Well,
the cool
goodness.
t-shirts?
There's a Twitter and a Facebook, right?
Yeah, and there's a straight-up website, but I'm not sure how much info you can get from that. It's called bewarethevalkyries.com. Can you check that for me?
Yeah, I'll check it.
I get the whole
I think it's Beware.
whole screen now, yes. But they're fantastic, and you can talk about all these comics with ladies, and we're quite knowledgeable. It's kind of fun.
BewareTheValkyries.com.
Yes,
I've got it right here. I pull it up so everybody can see the website to go to. Who are the Valkyries? We are the women behind the counters of comic shops worldwide. Want to join us? Membership is open to women of all ages, backgrounds, and orientations, including LGBTQ plus folks who are currently employed by a comic shop anywhere in the world. Join the conversation with hundreds of other Valkyries, discuss ladies' nights and book clubs, current trends and news in geek culture, and check out our meetups at dozens of conventions annually. This is cool.
It's super cool. And Jersey, you're going to love it. My favorite part about working in a comic book shop is all the little kids that come in and get so excited about comic books. And then they get real excited. A lot of little girls get really excited when I point out comics that are drawn by girls. Because they're like, oh, I can draw comics too? And I'll sit down with them. We'll draw comics while their parents are digging through the back bins. It's great. It is just the best thing ever, seeing these little kids just flip their noggins.
Well, we should also say that everybody on this cast tonight has also been to many, many editions of the Kids Read Comics Festival, which I am one of the co-organizers of. And Lee and Samantha, you guys in particular, have lent some really dynamite workshops for us in the past, and that kind of ties into our topic tonight about getting out in front of your stuff. But you guys have led workshops at 826 Michigan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we worked with them the last time we were up there, and also actually last year was across the street at the gallery, right?
Yeah, at the Ann Arbor Arts Center, where I work as a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but then the year before, you did something at 826 Michigan.
Yep.
And you've done a whole bunch of quick draw events at Kids Read Comics. So you guys are like super dynamite advocates for the medium of comics as well.
We do love it.
It's awesome to work with you guys, and it's just cool to see other cartoonists who aren't afraid to get out in front and help kids engage with the medium. I mean, you guys know that's something that's near and dear to my heart. But we're not done talking about all the stuff that you guys do.
There's too much.
There's still more because you guys are in a band, which I'm going to pull up on screen. I'm going to pull up one of your videos that people can find on YouTube. You guys are you were part of the Shake-Ups in Ponyville. Tell us about this band.
Well, the Shake-Ups are an Indianapolis-based power pop band run by our friend Patrick O'Connor, who's in many bands around Indianapolis. 5 Year Mission is a Star Trek band, and the Madeira is his surf rock band. And the Shake-Ups are kind of his like fun power pop band, but very recently they were invited to a convention that's My Little Pony themed, and he's like, well, okay, we'll whip up some My Little Pony songs to kind of celebrate the theme and thank them for hosting us. And it went so well that he's like, well, let's make it a full-blown side project. And now the Shake-Ups in Ponyville do original songs based on episodes of the new My Little Pony series, Friendship is Magic, and the songs are inspired by specific episodes or specific characters. or just celebrating pony culture in general.
And by recently, that was like 2 years ago.
2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
This is at PonyCon. I think I have the video up right now. The shakeups in Ponyville at PonyCon 2015.
Oh yeah, they were just
yeah.
in I think that's in Brooklyn. Yeah. And that's only Patrick, Savannah, and Bitsy can make it to that one, so half the band is missing.
We were already committed to another convention at the time, but
we'll
got
all
a lot
be,
more coming up later.
We will all be at very quite a few gigs still to come this year, including My Little Pony Fair in Chicago, where we'll have the full band.
Isn't there one that Jersey can go to that we're going to?
Oh yeah. The shakeups in Ponyville will be at Kids Read Comics this year.
What?
That's awesome.
When were you going to tell me?
June 20 and 21st.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
15, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Yeah, you'll have to come out, everybody, to see the shakeups. I've already been talking with some of our various local partners about finding you guys venues to perform, and everybody, when I tell them about the band, it starts out with like, oh, theme band, right? Okay, theme band. And then I go, yeah, it's a My Little Pony theme band. And then everybody just brightens up a little bit like, I'm intrigued.
Tell me more.
This could be very scary or it could be very wonderful. And then I always say, I assure you it's very wonderful. And then I point them at the videos and they agree, yes, it's very wonderful. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. That's going to be super, super cool.
I think it helps that Patrick is already a seasoned musician in various actual bands, so it's not so much like, I think people's first reactions are always, oh, it's going to be super kiddie, really simple kind of stuff, but no, it's just really good rock music, and it just happens to be about ponies.
This ain't no banana phone, son.
but
got a little more behind it.
Yeah, we should mention 5 Year Mission is an interesting band too, because isn't the whole premise they want to write a song about every episode of the original Star Trek series?
Yes.
Wow. How many albums do we have now? 3?
They have 3 albums out and a couple EPs.
Yeah.
They're well into it.
It's really good, dude.
That's crazy.
Good.
Okay, but to wrap up the introductions and dive into topic in a minute, it's one of the cool things about you guys is you're not afraid to get out there and get in front of people and, make some noise about what you're doing, both online and in person. And, we all know the story of visual arts tends to be attractive to people who are introverted or shy because you don't have to interact with people, right? You express yourself through your medium. I submit that was never enough. Right, people say oh, in the 21st century you have to get out there and get in front of people, and you didn't used to have to. Yeah, you kind of always had to. You always had to go to parties and meet people, and you had to hustle. But I think it's more apparent now. It's more visible as more and more people gain entry into the medium. That hustle becomes a little bit more visible to all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the interesting things that I think, something we were talking about just before we started recording, is Samantha, you even said something to the effect of oh, I'm kind of shy.
A little bit.
You don't have to be. I think it's interesting. You don't have to be an extrovert in order to do what you guys are doing, right?
Oh yeah. After we do this kind of stuff, I have to hide in a cave for a couple of days to recharge.
To go decompress. That's a very good point, Jersey. It's often brought up that being an introvert doesn't mean never being social, but it takes a lot more out of you to do it. I know I have to, the first couple times I did live streams, it's one of the perks for our patrons. At a certain level, I try to do it weekly. While I work on the comic, I'll invite everyone to a live stream, and but the first couple times I did it, even though I knew the people coming, because they're either close, longtime supporters of the comic or friends of mine, I still had to psych myself up to record, and every time I do it, I'm like, okay, we gotta do it. It's just, I don't know, it's some level of social anxiety that obviously I work through, because otherwise I wouldn't get on stage, otherwise I wouldn't run a workshop in front of a bunch of kids, but it's not easy, but in the end it's a lot of fun, and I think worth it.
So, before we get too far into it, do we want to do curveball, Rob?
Well, I think, it's traditional. I don't think it's mandatory, though. So, I know. Wow, shaking it up.
Well, we do have
Well,
the
I've
two
forgotten my question, so
Um,
if one of you has one, go ahead. But
All right. Well, cool. I like. It sounds like we're all cool with doing a curveball, right? So,
okay.
let's go for it.
Lee, I will defer to you if you have one that you want to throw at us and let us all chew on together.
I forgot it.
Oh,
You got to bail me out here.
Hey, no problem.
I didn't write it down.
Yeah, all right. So I've got a curveball ready.
Okay.
Now, all right. So the curveball typically that's like our little intellectual exercise before we get into the main topic. And we're slightly pulling back the reins a little bit here, not to abuse a pony metaphor. Bad timing for that. But because I think we are ready to go or whatnot. But it is kind of fun to like take let's sort of let's sort of chew on a question for a little bit. It doesn't have to have an answer. It may not be that great of a question. So by all means, you can throw the curveball back at me. But I'll ask this of the group, and let's see what happens. So I'm really curious, is there something that you're currently trying to learn that's been on your sort of radar for a while, that it's kind of like it's been there long enough where it's kind of almost annoying, where it's like you've been wanting to learn thing whatever for so long, then but it hasn't happened yet. And why do you? And if that is happening, like why do you think that is? And what would be some good strategies to shift it up?
Do you have something ready to go?
Kind of, sort of, but it's a little self-serving.
Mine's kind of lame. Okay. Well, I've been wanting to learn Manga Studio for like the longest time because I know that, and from multiple testimonials of artists that I trust, that it's great for comic make. I mean, it's designed to make comics. Photoshop is designed for photographers, and we've kind of forced it to be a comic tool. Whereas Manga Studio, like, I just keep hearing wonderful, wonderful things about it, and I have the latest version. I just haven't, and I even installed it, but I still haven't like sat down and kind of figured out how it would work into my comic flow. And the reason why I haven't done it yet, I think, is because I devote so much of my free time to working on the comic that even when I have to, do a podcast or something like this that's only going to take an hour and a half, I had to do some major shifting around my schedule to still get the comic page done in time this week. So I think to sit down and teach myself the software would take I'd have to take a break for a little bit. It would just, I know the potential benefits could speed up my workflow. I'm just like, I'd rather just use the thing I know and get it done now, and I'll learn it sometime soon, and that's been a while now. I've actually upgraded the version before I've taught myself the software.
What's funny is I've totally done that too. I kind of want to tag a little extra bonus question on this on top of that, and again for anyone to like consider this slightly expanded curveball. So why is that on your learning radar then?
Mainly because I think there's a lot of things, like Jersey's, I think, kind of impressed with how I could pull those kinds of inks out of Photoshop when I think other people, they've stopped. I've heard it said multiple times that Manga Studio's inking engine is so much better than Photoshop's, and they're always like, oh, it's so easy. It's like it just handles the pressure sensitivity so much better and it's so much smoother or something. And I'm always like, well, I could get Photoshop to do what I want, but takes me longer, and I have to force it to be the comic making tool I want it to be. Whereas I think Manga Studio would cut so much of that effort down, like that wasted effort. Kind of, it's more efficient to get the results I want, I guess. That's just what I built it up in my mind to be, so that's why I want it, and the reason why I haven't done it yet is because so busy. And but what was yours going to be, Sam?
I'm getting started learning how to do video, little videos, and basic animations. I've always loved animation. I love it. I love it to death. It's one of my favorite things ever. But I've never made anything more than a little animated GIF in Adobe After Effects. But I've started doing this because I'm getting ready to launch a Kickstarter, and I kind of like to do everything myself. So
you want to learn video for your Kickstarter video?
Yes, and I want to learn it mostly because I need to do a video for Kickstarter, and also because I can do it. Don't you dare tell me I can't do it. I'll do it.
No, you can
I'll do it.
You can do it. Do it.
I'll do it.
That's the right attitude.
Yes.
If we always say that the curveball doesn't have to have a right or wrong answer or even an answer at all, but in this case, that was the absolute correct answer.
They go, oh, that'll take too much work. You don't want to do that. Have someone else do it for you. No! I can do it.
But I think what you're pointing at is part of it is like this whole necessity being the mother of invention kind of thing, right? Because as you pointed out, Lee, it's like it's tough to find a place to insert the new learning thing into an existing workflow. But then when the opportunity arises where it's like, I need to do this thing and this is the only way, like learning this particular tool or this particular workflow is the only way I'm going to be able to do a good job of it, then it's like, okay, now I can learn it, right? Because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only way I learned Manga Studio was I just dove off the pier and I said, okay, the next freelance comics gig I'm doing it all in Manga Studio. I'm going to learn on the job.
Oh, wow.
And you know, there was a lot of things I did really, really wrong when I started because I was trying to do it the Photoshop way, right?
Uh-huh.
But then I learned, right, through doing that first book. But see, it was a freelance gig, so it's like, as long as the client's happy, I don't have to be all that happy with it. As long as the client likes it, it's like, you know, it's cool.
But it's so true.
Well, it is. I mean, like, if they like it, then I did a good job, right? I mean, but we're always our worst critics, right? We're always going to look at it and go, like, oh, too bad, that panel is all wrong. Nobody else is noticing that thing. So yeah, so I felt like that was the safest place to do it and to, like, sort of, like, put myself under the gun to say, like, okay, you've got 3 weeks to do this book. You have to learn Manga Studio in this 3 weeks, which I did. So, like, and then, Samantha, you're talking about, like, oh, I want to learn video editing. I want to learn how to make video. I want to do a Kickstarter. Okay, there's my goalpost, right? So
Yep.
I kind of have to learn it now.
You've marked the end zone.
Yeah.
End zone marked.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, man?
Just got to carry the ball.
Rob.
Oh.
Tell us, Rob.
Let me pick one. I'm going to say death metal singing.
Really?
That's hard on your voice. You're gonna need to have a lot of tea in your house.
Not entirely. There's a whole method that I've got the DVDs for. It's called the Zen of Screaming, and
Is it really?
Yeah, really.
Is that a thing? I'm looking it up. That's awesome.
It's a little. Yeah,
Of course, they've come up with like a better technique for it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it is a sustainable way to sort of make your voice, you know, like do that without and sing melodically a little bit. It's like melodic Cookie Monster, really mad.
Oh, I love it.
Is this Melissa Cross, Rob?
Yeah, Melissa Cross. There you go.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, so while you talk about it.
That doesn't surprise me though, because in my experience, metal guys are, while can be intense, are also care about the craft and being technically proficient with their instruments and music. So why not find a better way to scream?
Well, exactly, because it really does look like a magic trick when someone can essentially pull off that kind of voice set after set. Anyway, I find it an admirable skill. I've wanted to be able to do that, and
So cool.
and I'm fortunate where I do have some of the learning materials, but I haven't got put it in my path where I've only like nibbled at studying, right? And it's basically I don't have a project that really demands this, and I currently have a lot of other projects, on various burners, back, forefront, side burners, everywhere. The burners everywhere, right? And this one isn't on any of them. So, yeah, that's a puzzle. I'm not exactly sure how I would do that, but other than like at some point free up a burner and make the project around that would need that. And as soon as that need exists, then I'd be able to probably, budget the time for it.
You could always start your own death metal pony band.
Mm.
There's
I'm open to that, actually.
That would be excellent.
Actually, you wouldn't be alone. I know they exist.
Yeah.
I've got just the heroine to hang in front of Rob. Death metal Dragon Ball Z theme.
Yeah.
Oh!
Do it.
You know where to push, Jersey.
It's the only one you would ever do. All the lyrics are just over 9,000.
Over 9,000 would be the name of the band. Yes.
There you go. There's your project.
Excellent.
Yep. That makes it very even more enticing and interesting. Burger's still full.
Internet band.
Yeah. Cool. That's
Until
awesome.
you're ready to travel.
Fandom bands are the thing now.
Fandom bands are fun, man. Especially when it's original music.
All right.
Well,
good stuff. Thank you.
Do it.
Speaking of music, I'm going to hit the bridge music so we get the topic, because it sounds like we're heading in some areas. So, going 10,000 feet up, looking at the topic in the abstract from every conceivable angle, looking for hidden dimensions and depths, see if we can pick this thing apart to the atomic level. I've got a follow-up question based on this curveball. It was actually my notes for the main topic. And the main topic is, as I hinted at earlier, getting out in front, studying what we learn from artists who are also performers, who learn about how to better get in front of our work and not be such shrinking violets about the whole thing. So, you guys talked about all these different interests that you want to pursue, and I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick and say, jeepers crackers, just stick to your knitting. You're cartoonists and designers. You're not singers. You don't get to be unicorns. You pick a job and do it. How come you got all you're doing, Lee, Samantha, is you're just taking more and more mojo away from the cartooning to put it into all these other frivolous exercises?
Sam is so eager to answer.
I actually am a singer. My previous band was a 10-piece jazz band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was it called?
Knee Deep in the Weeds. We did a bunch of standards covers, like Sinatra stuff, Ella Fitzgerald, Be Still My Beating Heart. It was great. But these guys, they're just really great. But it was really hard to get gigs around because nobody wants to pay for a 10-piece band. But yeah, that was when I was going into further my schooling. It was straight down the middle, art or music. So,
well, how come
I can't give the other one up, dude. I got to do them both.
Well, you're either one or the other. That's what a lot of people like to say, you know. Like I get this even from people who I consider to be friends. They'll say sometimes, like, you know, are you a cartoonist or are you a teacher, Jersey?
Both. You're a teaching cartoonist.
I think there's room for varying degrees of both. Yeah, like, I know I'm a much better artist than I am a musician. I just started learning guitar a few years ago, and that's totally cool. And while I do pretty much give 100% of my life to the comic, as I, page after page after page, you get better, you get faster, a little bit more free time opens up. I maybe sacrifice a little bit here or there. I get more efficient at not looking at internet and going down internet rabbit holes. That I make some time to practice, and then I make some time, where I can free up a day during the week that I can save that day for a gig. I mean, yeah, I can see where you could argue, and I actually made that exact point to a friend who was like wanting to get into podcasting, and he was trying to figure out how to incorporate his comic and work it into the communities built around his comic, and I'm like, if you want to have a really good podcast, that's going to be your thing. Like, then it's all podcasting to make that work. And then where are you going to have time for your comic? He's like, oh, yeah. It's kind of like that. I think it's a Ron Swanson quote from Parks and Rec where it's like, don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing.
Basically, you walked up to him and smacked his dream of podcasting out of his hand. Get back to him.
I did, and I feel really bad about it now because I wish I had encouraged him more. And he's fine. He's actually pursuing, like, he has a normal day job, but pursuing a career in storyboarding now and applying to things. And I'm so really happy and excited for him that he's actually going after it. Because why not? I mean, I don't want to say YOLO, but how much time do we have really to not go after the things to make us happy. So why not do it all?
I'll tag on to your YOLO card and play a.
I'll see your YOLO and read.
What are you gonna raise
Yeah.
it to?
And honestly, there's if you push the boundaries and you find as you know, if you're YOLO powered or whatever, you have a chance where you're like probing the edge of like, well, what can I fit in? Where can I fit it in? You find a spot to try stuff, and you're by that very process of exploring like what could you do, what else could you do, and you're inspired to do it, acting on that inspiration, you're increasing your capacity, right? And believing that you could do it and exploring and then trying it and then practicing it, all of a sudden you will develop a second whole ass to apply to the problem.
So you can whole ass two things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Explains
so on.
a lot.
Are you already there?
That explains the looks I get when I walk down the street.
This is my friend Rob of the Two Butt Clan.
Mhm. Yep.
Rob, two butts.
All right. Okay. So I think yeah, and you know, another thing that I would I would tack onto this too is that like leveling up skills in one area inevitably has some unforeseen benefits in the other areas that you pursue, right? Like teaching enhanced my public speaking abilities, which enhanced my podcasting abilities, and the podcasting helped me think really hard, which fed back into my teaching, which fed back into my work, because now I'm thinking really hard about my work because I'm reverse engineering all the stuff that I do in order to be able to communicate that to young people. So it all has this kind of recursive kind of like signal boosting power in my experience, and even things that seem unrelated, right? Like so, like you know, I do a thing called the Saturday Supercast. Podcast about cartoons and thinking really hard about cartoons, which helps my writing, right? So, yeah, I don't see these things as being unrelated. I think the trick is knowing when. I guess the question is like, when do you know that it's worth investing the time into? But I'm guessing probably for a lot of us, it starts out with just like a casual curiosity, and then if we find ourselves going back to it again and again, then something's telling us that there's something of value there, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and that's there. I think there are some things you can quantify like that. Like there's a specific benefit or result that you're shooting for and that you can attain. And sometimes that benefit and the result that makes it worth it to try is just that was so much fun to do. I'm so glad I tried it. And that's kind of what drives me. I'm like, try and stop me. I'll do it.
So you know, I'm wondering if like seems like maybe tangentially related, but I'm always curious when I talk with people who do performance of any kind of working with a crowd. Can you characterize the 2 minutes before you walk out onto a stage or before you step in front of a group of people? Could you characterize what that moment feels like for you?
You want to do that? You have more stage experience than I do.
Yes. Remember, have you read Scott Pilgrim?
Yes.
A little bit.
Okay. You remember the one scene where they're getting ready to play their first show, and Steven Stills is like, "Bleh, bleh, bleh." He's just nervous pukes all over the place.
Oh, is that in the comic version?
Yeah.
I was thinking in the movie he has that scene, but he doesn't puke.
No, he does get nervous, but you kind of feel like you're going to vomit a little bit.
A little irpy.
Little irpy. I don't actually get sick. I just feel sick, and then sudden
Butterflies.
panic attacks kind of thing. And it's like, oh God, this is going to be terrible. Nobody's going to like me. Oh my gosh, they're gonna see how I do, and I don't have my stage presence is terrible. Oh my gosh, is my hair right? How is my wig? Is my wig on? Oh my gosh, I forgot my thing. Oh my God. And then you get up there and it's like adrenaline rush, and you're fine.
Yeah.
So the first moments before going out on stage in front of a bunch of people.
Exactly like that, to the T.
Well, yeah, I can actually, because it's a very recent memory. My very first time doing a live music gig, during the sound check, I was like, can we run through this one song real quick? Or just start playing this one song. I want to see how my volume level is compared to the drum set. And he starts going into it, and I forgot the song. I choked during sound check, and then he was like, "Okay, now we're starting the gig. First song, boom!" And but then I was into it. But like, I'm just glad I got that out of the way during sound check.
I will say one thing: it's definitely a lot easier to perform in a costume.
Oh yeah, that was unexpected.
Because you're not yourself. You are this person you've
You're a character.
So basically, it's the visual thing. When we started tabling at cons, one of the things that I would always tell myself and other nervous first-timers to do is just pretend that you're somebody who can do it. And no, really, seriously, don't laugh at that. It's perfectly serviceable advice. Pretend that you're someone who is not afraid of people, who is very outgoing and can be like, "Hey, man, I don't care. Hey, what's up? You want to buy my book? It's really awesome. You really got to check this out. Look at this. Look at this." So I do that when I was playing music or singing or being at a show, or honestly, that was how I got through my first retail job. Was I pretended I was somebody who could talk to people.
Well, it's a variation on fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I've seen you table at shows, Samantha, and you come off as a very relaxed person.
Shut up, baby.
Actually, I love that she brought up tabling because the first time I took Little Guardians to, I think it was a Wizard Chicago, and it was like my first big con with a new project.
Oh, you were terrified.
I hyperventilated a bit. Like when I was like everything set up, I was so, but it was, I don't think it was from fear, it was from excitement that I got really excited. Book. Read book. Read book.
It's so funny. It's cracking me. Or you hide. You're just like.
Okay, so it sounds like you go through these experiences that are more extreme earlier on, but I mean you're not describing like how it is then forevermore, right?
Oh no.
Okay.
Yes.
So, oh yeah.
We're
horrible
chasing
truth.
a dragon now.
Okay.
There's dragons?
Yep.
So cool. Then it's a matter of keeping the risk just as high. No. So what does it go? What changes the next time?
You get used to it. You no longer are frightened of what's coming up because you know what to expect.
Less fear. Managed expectations.
You get a better idea how to read a crowd.
Let's talk about reading a crowd. Let's talk about that. Yeah. How? Okay. So what do you mean by that? Like when you're talking about reading a crowd, I mean whether it's tabling at a show or being on a stage. What does that mean to you when you're reading a crowd?
Well, if you're interacting with somebody face to face, you can kind of read their body language after a while and figure out like if they're leaning in or if they're leaning back or if they're crossed their arms or something like that. You can kind of figure out how they're into it or read their facial expression and see if they're responding to how you're talking to them. And if they're not, you're not going to have the same pitch for every person at a table because it's not going to work for every person the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And you can certainly do that, but you're gonna lose some sales or potential people who are going to actually take your card and look up your website later.
I never like being able to recite the guy next to me his pitch word for word because because he never changes.
Oh, the stories we could tell you, but we're not going to on the air.
Yeah, so I just don't want to be that guy.
It's okay, I can take it.
It's Rob. He's terrible. Jeez, Rob.
No,
that's why I made my boilerplate pitch 5 words. I like the 5-word pitches. Really useful and helpful, and people laugh. And then you can explain more if they're into it. I mean, I think I spend most of my energy at the table kind of diffusing someone who's either they're nervous to talk to me or they don't know what they're looking at. Everything is new and bright and shiny. There's a lot of new first-timers at cons now. Families who are there for this is their first con. We're just checking it out. This is so neat. And you either like feed and bolster that excitement for them so they feel more comfortable, or they're just like, oh, I don't know any of this, and you're like, no, it's cool, check this out, you might like this, check out my book.
You know, I got to deal with a lot of that in the shop, too, because people will come in, I'll get a lot of new people, they're like, I've never been in here before, it's been here, how long has it been here? What, 6 years? Okay, cool, show me what are comic books, I don't understand. And, you know, some people will, I can actually be silly with them, it was like, hey guy, have you read Squirrel Girl? It's just hilarious, you got to get into it. Or somebody who is not so much into the silly stuff, I can recommend something else. I'm like, oh, do you like kind of a War of the Worlds feel? This one was really great, this story over here, or this one is where it's getting really good. And I have to read a lot of stuff that I may or may not like, but I'm still going to be able to kind of recommend it to somebody.
What I'm hearing from you guys is a lot of what you're talking about is being of service to the participant. When you're on stage and you're performing, you're trying to create an experience for the audience, right? And part of that experience depends on the input that you get from the audience. That's why you read a crowd and you adjust based on the crowd's interaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're tabling, it's about being of service to the person. Like Lee, your words were, you're there to diffuse the anxiety and discomfort of the person who's attending the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Samantha, you're in the comic store. You are to be of service of the person who's looking for a thing to buy, right?
Yeah, or just looking around to get them to let down their guard so that they will be more open to what is around them.
I think the unspoken thing is they're like, I'm here at this comic show, so I'm kind of admitting that I'm a potential fan. Like, otherwise you wouldn't be there. And I'm like, I will help you get the rest of the way there. Check out this stuff. It's like we're just facilitating. We're the middle.
Right.
We're the pushers.
Yeah.
but I mean, I just wonder if that's like part of the way, like how does the whole anxiety of performance change once you think of it as being in service to something? So then it's not about you and your reputation being on the line necessarily, right? It's about like, how can I help these people to get to closer to where I am on this particular topic or this particular, you know, like how do I get this audience to love the ponies as much as I do? How do I get this audience to love Little Guardians as much as I do?
Are you going to do it or am I going to do it?
I don't know what you're about to do, but I just want let me get my thought out. I think, yeah, that's a really good point. The anxiety becomes secondary because I have something else to focus on besides me. It's taking yourself out of it, I guess. So it's like I'm not, like, if you're playing music in a rock band, part of it is it's just a cool thing to do, so you feel cool doing it, but you're not up there going, how can I stand to look the best?
right.
You don't have on the shutter shades going, I'm the coolest. No.
No, but I'm more concerned with I'm holding my wrist the wrong way because now it's starting to hurt. I gotta fix that. That guy over there is loving this. Let me like throw a high five or a fist, like, yeah, rock on, like get him into it. And
well, waggle your eyebrows at him a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I love making faces at people in the crowd, and because that's always fun. And like,
oh no, did we lose him?
Possibly.
I think we might.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's a buffering thing.
Yeah.
Did we lose you? Did you lose us?
Hello?
Hi.
Hey.
Are we back?
How's it going, guys?
You were talking about throwing faces at the crowd.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we just spent so much time thinking like, what would be fun and cool and make them laugh, because this is so much like fun to do. It's like, yeah, it's that service thing. It's like, let's put on this hat, let's put on this wig, wear this mask during this thing because they're going to get a kick out of it, and it's just, and in the process, it's so much fun to do. And I forgot to be scared about it because I was so focused on that.
Okay, you're done now. It's my turn. Okay.
For Samantha, it is all about her.
I've never actually thought of it. You can come back.
Okay.
I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean it.
It's
come back.
Go ahead.
No, I never thought of it really before as in terms of servicing, because everything that I do, all these things that I do this for, it's because I legitimately love the product or what it is that I'm doing or the thing that it's related to. And I'm just so flippin' excited about it. I'm going to tell you about it too. And then maybe you can love it like I do. And you really ought to read this, man. It's a great comic. Oh, gosh, you got to listen to this song that we're going to sing. It's about ponies, and it's the best pony. It is seriously the best pony. Let's talk about the best pony. Who's your favorite pony? Oh, cool. This is my favorite pony. I love ponies. Remember that one time the pony did the pony? It was great.
Pony did the pony.
The pony with the pony. I remember that episode. There was a lot of ponies in that one. It was really.
Remember when the pony was the pony and the pony with the pony?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a lot of pony common ground, and then, but what I'm hearing is that there is a lot of in either direction. Like you have a lot of passion about a topic, and likely there's some kind of shared thing already. So like that topic becomes like something you can use to connect, right? Mm-hmm. And through that connection, discover whatever. Like how can you amp up the entertainment, or how could you help guide them to a recommendation of like, yeah, check this out because this thing that I think we both understand well, check this out because it relates to it, what have you. And yeah, that's a really I'm guessing it sounds like it doesn't have to be a totally premeditated thing. It can be just an instinct that develops. I mean, so do you think that was like I don't know, like how did you start to embrace that instinct? Whether like looking back at it, so like whether or not it was premeditated, where it was like, oh, I'm going to whatever.
It wasn't fun before.
Oh.
Now that it's fun, oh yeah.
Well, it was
I'm gonna go with it.
Because not responding to that. It's kind of you're picking up negatives, you're picking up positives. So one like, okay, it's less fun if I just sit at my table and
pout.
Well, yeah, like if you're not having fun, they can pick up on it. Like that's kind of salesmanship 101. Like,
oh yeah, I had a con like that last year.
Oh, you don't want to be that sourpuss.
It was terrible. Oh yeah, he was Mr. Smiles at this con last year, and I could tell that whatever I was doing was not working on a single person there, and I was just like,
resting jerk face.
That's my regular face, yeah. That I look all the time. Thanks, Judy.
That's not true either. Like I said, I've seen you at Kids Read Comics, and like you were literally, I've seen Samantha sitting at the table with her feet up on the table. Like that's how relaxed she is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
She's like, hey guys, come join me. We're gonna relax.
That was exactly the tone when I walked by your table. But like so like. Lee, you said something about like forgetting about yourself because you're so worried about like doing a good job of the performance as the service, not necessarily like working out the mathematics that way. But a suspicion I have, and I don't think this is true 100% of the time, but I do think that every once in a while, shyness becomes kind of like a preciousness about yourself, right? I don't want to engage because what if I do a bad job? What if I say something stupid? What if I embarrass myself? What if they don't like me, right? It's being a little too like uptight about your role in the whole situation, right? And then I think about something you said, Samantha, where it's like you just get so excited about the thing you just want to tell everybody about, like a 10-year-old on the playground, right? Did you see that thing on TV last night? Oh my God, it was really amazing, right? That kid's not thinking about am I cool or am I not cool. That kid's just like I saw a neat thing and I got to tell everybody about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So sometimes I just wonder, like, if like a way to check shyness is to say, like, hey, is this shyness because I'm being a little too tightly wound about me, rather than committing myself to a thing, right?
I think so. I mean, I don't want to undermine anyone who may be like really like earnestly struggling against some like social anxieties, but
sure,
like not at all. But I do think a lot of it is like, and I probably did this for the first few years that I tried tabling and doing various different comic projects. It was, I did kind of avoid some social situations like going out and meeting other creators afterwards, or getting to just making the effort, and this is a very huge effort to find other creators locally that live around where you live in your town, and like meeting a total stranger, like setting up meetups where you can go and spend time with other creators, and you know half the people are going to be strangers, and that's very daunting for a lot of people. It's really hard to get used to that, and now we've been doing it for since 2007, so yeah, our meetup has been monthly, regular meetups since then, and it's been just in a few recent years, it's been really building to where we can get up to like 20 to 25 people to show up at a meetup, and I remember a lot of them, but I mean, there's almost always someone new, and now I'm relaxed and it's easier for me, but I remember early on it was very difficult, and the only thing that got me through it was I was more excited about comics than I was afraid of other people, and I wish I could just give that as a pill to the people and be like, here's your I'm not worried about other people pill. And
now that I think about it, that was really out of character for you 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Be like, there's other comic people in the city. I'm going to start a meetup group and then meet people that I'm frightened of, and it'll be cool. And now we have like 1 million new best friends. And I'm exaggerating. It's more like 500,000.
But we forgot to mention that at the top. Yeah, you guys are also organizers of the Indie Webcomics group, which is no small shake. So on top of doing this performance stuff, on top of doing the design and the cartooning, you're also negotiating and working with groups of fellow cartoonists and designers.
Yep.
It's mostly him. I'm not gonna take more credit than I should. It's mostly him that does this.
You helped me a lot.
I help you by being the lady that encourages more ladies to show up. There's so many ladies now. It's great. For a while, I was just a big sausage party. I was low.
But also, too, I mean, like, you guys, when you're organizing a group like this again is a service-driven thing, right? This isn't about, like, hey, I'm gonna create a group so that everybody will gather around and pay fealty to Lee and Samantha.
No.
Right?
No, wait, yes, it's totally selfish. It's entirely selfish if you go on another level, because I would get the maximum amount of joy out of sharing this thing with you, and then, haha, you love it too, and that's good for me.
That is like a weird kind of selfishness, because that's like a selfless selfishness, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm kind of weird, Jersey.
Well, I mean, I met my current comic making partner, Ed Cho, who's the writer on Little Guardians. I met him through that group. So I wouldn't even be working on the book series that I'm trying to build right now if it weren't for, just meeting new people at this meetup thing. And I know a few other, like, some of our our current closest friends, I mean, not friends from high school and younger or from college, like people I met after college.
Yeah, like adult friends, like real life, you're in your 30s friends.
Real people friends who are who we spend so much time with now, and I consider really close. We met through that group, and I'm not saying like, it can be really frustrating if you try out a local group like that and you don't seem to click with the people there. I mean, it's not like instantly you will make friends, but it's just benefited our lives in so many different ways that I didn't expect. And I always, when I see people talking about, well, I wish I could make it to that convention, I want to see other creators, but it's so far away and I don't have the money, I can't make it. I'm like, you can do it right where you are. I mean, and then I have to keep reminding myself that I benefit from being in a larger city, because I'm very close to downtown Indianapolis, and that's a big enough population center where I'm gonna find other creators. But like, what if you're out in the middle, and you're literally in the middle of nowhere, there aren't any other creators? The internet's where you do that, and there are things like ComfyCon, where it's kind of like the online Google Hangout version of a convention. I think I see Danielle Corsetto and Randy Mulholland. Are they the main organizers of that?
I think they are ComfyCon.
Yeah, they are ComfyCon, where it's just hanging out in your pajamas, but it's like all the interaction you'd get from a Comic-Con. But
the best part, though, is like if you are in the middle of nowhere, and the internet is such a great resource because you can find anything. You find all kinds of podcasts and things where you're talking to people that like to discuss certain things about comic making and the craft, and Jersey. I'm sorry, I had to do that.
We went off on a tangent there. Yeah.
I had to bring
it back to what was the original?
Well, no, those was all layers to the whole thing.
Like a cake.
But okay.
With pie inside of it.
Let's dial back just a little bit. You were talking about, and I was making like little jokes about Samantha having her feet kicked up on the table at KRC, which you did, and like I remember as I was walking by the table, you were like, Jersey. You just said it's like that, like, and I couldn't.
Did I do the low voice? Yeah.
Yeah. You did this like is she mad at me, or is that like a come hither voice? What is that? Like I can't walk away from that. What is going on here? But
that's my low voice that confuses everybody and draws them in.
It's both. It's angry come hither.
Yes. It's so intimidating that you cannot deny it. You have to come over and find out what I was talking about. It's great.
That, I'm guessing, is a bit of a persona thing, right? A performance, right?
That's Sam.
Oh, is that like just the natural Sam?
Oh yeah, I think it's
this is from me having the lowest voice of all the women growing up.
Yeah, it's her smoky jazzy voice. It's
the Lauren Bacall voice.
This is the voice that got me banned from an intercom before because I made the store sound like we were a 900 number.
Call-in line, yeah.
I'm no longer allowed near intercoms.
I think it was I think Sam has this. That's part of her natural charisma, and I think she turned it into one of her bag of tricks for working at a table. Where, like, you do, like, I don't want to be the guy, the really aggressive sales guy that barks people over to the table. Hey, stop walking and take my postcard. But Sam can do it with just a look.
Well, it worked the best. For a year, I tried. I tried something out for a brand. Dyed my hair green. And
wore a mustache.
Wore a mustache. You've probably seen it at KRC, but I had this big, ridiculous felt mustache that I would wear, and I could twitch it a little bit. And since I have that creepy low voice, I would just say "hello, boys" to some people walking by, and they turn around, and they go, "Why?" I need to know what this is about, and it actually raised my sales by about 30%.
Quantifiable.
It was so hard to get rid of the mustache. Like, I needed to get rid of it because it's
itchy.
It's itchy, and I don't want to be just the girl with the mustache. And I've tried it out on him, and he doesn't work when dudes wear the mustache.
No.
Does not.
Or at least when I do.
Not at all. Though it worked for Perry.
Perry's good at it, yeah.
Yeah. It worked for our friend Perry Halter. So I don't know why.
Mixed results on the mustache.
Mixed results. You got to know how to work the stash. It just you got to wiggle it.
But you again, this is like you're kind of pointing at performance, and this is where I'm gonna like kind of come at you guys with like not necessarily devil's advocate, but sort of advocating for the shy person who isn't necessarily fully bought into what you're selling yet. Performing, it's not you. You're lying. You're putting on a false face. You're putting on a disguise. I gotta be authentic. I gotta be me. I have to be real. Otherwise, I feel like I'm tricking people into buying my stuff.
Well, superheroes put on a disguise, and that's still part of them. It's the same thing. Same concept. Mm-hmm. You're putting on an alternate identity.
So
to go and be on a stage or elsewhere. You are another part of you. You're a part of you that's deep down inside of you, and you don't normally have that come out. And since you're on the stage, it's your secret identity. You come out and you're just like, this is a part of me that nobody knows about, and it's fine because I'm not really around a terrible lot of people who know me well, so I can be this way with these people. They're never going to see me again. Maybe. Who knows?
That's true. You only see your convention friends like twice or 3 times a year, right?
I know, but you're still our best friends. It's just a different definition of best friends now.
So this is
best internet friends.
So you're more talking about like Superman, who only gets to be himself when he takes off the disguise. Right?
I can't do this with Superman because it confuses me.
Oh, okay.
The Superman costume thing, I've got opinions about that.
Oh.
We have to turn around to someone else.
Oh, okay. I don't think it's like me when I'm on
it's
stage.
still going, Miss Marvel.
Okay.
Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel wants to help people, and there's things she wants to do, but she has to. I don't know what she has to. I suppose has to hide it from her family so she doesn't get them in trouble or hurt them or anything. And she goes out, and she's completely different than she is when she's not in the costume. She's brave. She can take on anything when she's wearing that costume. It's great.
But is that disingenuous?
No.
Like Jersey's saying, the you that's performing, is there an innate part of that that's like, I'm pretending I'm not afraid, I'm not nervous, I'm not anxious to do this?
No, it's like when the doctor got you to understand why it was okay for you to wear glasses. Remember when he told you that? It's like you're not gonna.
That doesn't apply at all.
It is.
No.
It does.
No.
It does because you're not gonna. If you don't wear the glasses, you're gonna be working even harder. Your eyes are gonna work even harder to see what you're seeing. Put the glasses on. It's just a tool to help you do you better. The costume, the costume and the persona is a tool to help you do you better.
You pulled that one out.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I knew where I was going. Don't you question me, son.
Well, I think what Sam's pointing to is
shut up.
that there's a difference between being disingenuous and like tapping into something that is a true part of you, right? Like that's the difference between being like a huckster who's going, "Hey, stop what you're doing and take my postcard," and being the person who is a more outgoing version of yourself. Because like I won't go into this very long. I'll do this very fast. But to sort of tack on to what you were saying about Miss Marvel, it's like I've made the same assertion about characters like He-Man, is that the He-Man is Adam at full potential, right? It's not him. It's not Adam, Prince of Eternia. It's him sort of maximized, but he has to shut that off because if he doesn't shut it off, well, if you don't shut it off, you're a monster, right? Like, so it's not true, but it is true. It has its own truth. Rob, you look thoughtful.
Tell us, Rob.
No, I've heard I agree with the rationale, and I'm turning it around in my head because it sounds like it's a self-identifiable thing where if a person has kind of a rigid understanding of what is genuine for them, right? And then if being in an uncomfortable circumstance gets beyond their definition of what's still genuine for them, and they're like, yeah, but the costume is like, that's where the person that would be reluctant about the costume, like, and would find that as disingenuous or what have you. And there's nothing wrong with that other than like, well, maybe that person wouldn't go full costume right away. Maybe there's a tiny mustache. Maybe there's a mustache
little finger mustache.
I don't know, like, but that person maybe they wouldn't be going full band on stage instantly, right? Like they would be going, visit cons a while to acclimate.
Yeah, you just kind of build it up and build it up.
Yeah.
Little cafe shows.
Open mics.
Yeah.
Open mic nights are awesome, dude. Not gonna lie. You can take your over 9,000 band to a couple open mics.
I would do that in a heartbeat. I have to get the voice first. And I may have to figure out some other specialties like yelling Kamehameha in a very particular way. But the
no, you can't yell Kamehameha. You have to sing it in like a choir voice, because nothing's cooler than when the death metal guys just come out and they're just like, ah! And it's just crazy. I love it. Have you seen that? It's the perfect thing.
Underlined in black crayon. Big thumbs up.
Fair enough. That's lofty. So I'm not jumping into that right away. So my finger mustache version of that idea is to dodge the topic and mention Ryan Estrada, because we're talking about open mics.
Yep.
Been too long since we've evoked his name on the podcast. And I mean, that's very much the kind of learning, self-development stuff that he advocates for. And it's like a huge part of his skill building cycle, which is just kind of throwing himself into those not necessarily fires.
Dangerous.
Right? mild discomforts. right? Because open mics describe it. You're not in front of like 20,000 people, right? It's more like, you know, a handful of some sort, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he tells one of his stories live to people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or you guys, you're mentioning open mics and giving them a big thumbs up. I mean, it's probably not, you know, the most dangerous crowd.
Yeah, it's great. Just bring somebody there that you're comfortable with. Like if it's your first dipping your big toe into the pool kind of thing, bring a buddy. Do the buddy system. Have some guy there with you that is going to be able to be your rock after you go through the emotionally draining experience it is to be on stage in front of a bunch of people performing an act for the very first time ever in your life. That's some scary stuff, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Ryan Estrada inspires me a lot.
He's crazy awesome.
Yeah.
Crazy and awesome. He's crazy awesome.
Yeah, he really is. But no, I feel like we're getting into on the ground territory. So is there anything else that we want to include in the 10,000 feet up before we start talking about practical applications of these different things, tips and stuff?
Oh no, I'm good. Let's do it.
All right.
Always
Well, then,
remember and never forget.
so here comes the dreadful music meme that we're going to start talking about practical applications, tips and strategies for putting all this thinking into some kind of useful context. So okay, so we talked about open mics. Let's say I'm the person who's listening to this. I'm the leader who's listening in and saying like, okay, I'm intrigued. Maybe I do need to get out there more and perform more to get in front of my work. What other ways can you do it? What ways do you guys, besides doing performances in bands, Lee, you do live streams, right?
Mm-hmm. That helps a lot.
They're so fun.
They're so fun. That sounds terrifying. I'm letting people watch me draw. What if I make a mistake? What if I screw up?
Ooh, oh yeah.
Are you drawing digitally? You can hit the Control Z.
Yeah. I had to. We had some good chuckles at the last one where I was using a keyboard shortcut that I actually got from Ryan Estrada during one of his this is how I do comics really fast tutorials, and it was the one with the magic wand where he made the action so that you just hit one keystroke and it makes a selection, expands, fills, deselects, and he uses that to do all his flatting. So I was doing that, and then someone watching the live stream was like, "Oh, it's your magic make art button," and then I'm like, "Yep, I'm just cheating. This is watch Lee cheat hour." So
Love it.
and we all and only a very small part of me was like, "They know."
Dang.
They know now.
I've been doing this for a long time and like sharing a lot of my process online for a long time. But even so, like when I started doing live streams for my Boulder and Fleet webcomic, I remember feeling a little bit of trepidation where I was like, they're gonna see that I'm faking my way through the coloring process, that I'm just like slapping a bunch of colors down and going like, it's better like this or like this, it's better like this or like this, you know? And that like there's this weird dumb story we like to tell ourselves that like artists walk into a piece with a full vision of it, right? Mm-hmm. And like I'm supposed to just walk into my page and just go like, that's going to be this shade of green, that's going to be this shade of red, because I just know they work together and I just have a vision. I see it. When a lot of the time it's sort of like, maybe a little bit more green. That didn't work. Take that away, right? And letting people see that can be, for whatever dumb reason, kind of unnerving sometimes, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like we could spend a whole podcast talking about people's perception of comic creation or just art creation in general. Like, oh, I can never do that. I'm not an artistic person. I know you guys have done whole podcasts about that issue, trying to convince people that's not the case. I think the live stream really did help me. It's like I know it's going to help my workshops at Kids Read this year because now I've got so much more experience sharing my process and talking to people who aren't necessarily as experienced or trained as I am, and I think that's just helping me build up the experience. Like, and it'll get easier and easier. And I've done more like workshops at libraries. I've done more talks about like Q&As and that kind of thing, and that just
and you did a couple of art fights.
Super Art Fight's another really good one.
Tell us about that. Yeah, what's Super Art Fight?
Super Art Fight, I think it's East Coast based, put together by Brandon Chalmers, Ross Scott, who is the screen name of Ross Nover, Marty Day, a bunch of cartoonists and creators over around the East Coast area, and I can't. I think
There's too many of them.
Yeah, I forgot the whole origin story, but it's a live art. It's kind of like pro wrestling versus Pictionary, and where these cartoonists build up personas and a character and a costume. And well, a costume's not required, but it definitely helps to have a name and or almost a catchphrase and an attitude when you go up there. And then you're both drawing on the same canvas to prompted subjects, and the crowd cheers for who they want to win. It's a one-on-one art battle, and they've built it up into a live this. They could take this event to conventions. They usually do shows at conventions, but they've also done local venues or gone to they've taken it from coast to coast too and expanded it. It's so much fun. I got the chance to be a guest art fighter I think twice now.
Yeah.
And I made up a persona for it where I'm Officer C.P. Bristol of the Art Police. I have a costume and a hat.
I think we killed Jersey. No, it's great because in the pony band, he's got half a costume.
He's trying to say something.
Costume.
What was that, Jersey?
The best part of that name is that it's CP. Whenever you have two initials followed by a name, it's always funny.
That stands for cold press.
It's like
Hilarious.
Captain PJ McTiny Paws, right?
Yes.
Automatically, it's funny.
I'm naming my new dog that. McTiny Paws.
I think I got the initials also meaning city police, but I say it means cold press, like the paper.
Oh my God.
Bristol.
Yes.
That's so great.
But yeah, he's a full costume, full persona kind of thing. I helped him make his costume. He's got a trooper hat with a siren on the top of it, and sirens that go on your shoulders, and writes tickets to people.
It's a good time. It's not necessarily an all ages good time, but it's a really good time.
But yeah, for that one, you are definitely a completely different person.
Well,
for that.
And I have the aviators and the mustache, and I look like I'm right out of Super Troopers, and it's so much easier. Yeah, it very much is easier to disappear into that character and be that guy, not be me. I don't have to worry about being me on that. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I think just straight up Lee at an art fight would be kind of funny, boring, because
I would be so much
you would
more
be
boring.
boring. You'd be hiding. You'd be like, I don't know what to do. What are you drawing? What?
That's a lot more like what I am on the live streams.
Yeah. Exactly. Except they can't see your face on the live streams.
What was the question?
What are we talking about? We go off on tangents. We're sorry.
No, again, this is just more depth. But so Super Art Fight, it's obviously that's a. I mean, I think a lot of the listeners of Lean Into Art probably have heard of it, and it's always sounded cool. I've never been in the right place at the right time to witness one, but I would imagine there's a progression, right? So what do you think sort of it's someone who is interested in eventually being involved in something like that? Where would they start? Where would they?
Well,
Super
actually,
extremes.
there's kind of a mini version of it that has come to Kids Read. Well, not a version of Art Fight, but like Mark Mariano's Doodle Scribble Draw. It's a named event. He's developed it into something that he takes to different conventions, and it's just something that he runs. And the way I got to do Doodle Scribble Draw is to just ask. I'm like, that sounds fun. Or I heard that he was looking for a couple more artists to add to it, and I'm like, I can do it. And then if those opportunities pop up, don't be afraid to jump in. It looked fun, so I wanted to try it.
It's really hard for introverts, though, to say, hey, can I do this with you?
Gosh,
just asking is hard.
I know. I don't know how to
ballsy.
not be an introvert when it comes to snagging an opportunity that comes by. But, first, I guess the best thing to do is to put yourself in the area where those opportunities tend to happen more often, and then it makes it easier eventually to grab one. That's going to shows so that eventually someone's going to say, hey, you want to go You want to go out? A bunch of us are going out. We're going to talk comics. And then you
Honestly,
meet
though.
someone, and that leads to something, and that just happens.
Honestly, though, that whole thing came about because you made internet friends.
Well, yeah, well.
Well, yes and no.
Internet friends, make them. They're good
Well,
for you.
But the other thing that I would like to layer on this, as somebody who is an event organizer, is that when you guys came to Kids Read Comics, I didn't know you that well. I knew of you
And
because
now
I said,
you knew.
what?
And now you know us.
Well, yeah. For better or worse.
You're never getting rid of us.
There's that low voice. But no, but one of the things that you guys did that I think you did really well is that you just approached me point blank and said, like, hey, Jersey, is there anything we can do to help? Again, service. You didn't specifically necessarily give me a workshop proposal, but I remember you just said, like, is there anything that we can help out with in terms of programming? And then I said, yeah, there's like these quick draw things that we do, and that was like I think the very first thing I put you guys on to test you out. And then I saw how well you did that. I'm like, all right, now they're doing workshops. There's no question. I'm going to ask them that.
Sweet.
Right? Because they know how to work a crowd. Same thing with Rob. When I first met Rob, it was at the Up Fair, which you guys were at, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we didn't present it up
That
there,
was
but
so fun.
we attended.
And
No, we had a table at Up Fair.
Well, yeah, we exhibited,
Yeah.
but we didn't run a thing.
yeah, that was like 2009 or something like
Yeah,
that.
that was 09.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But like Rob approached me and said, like, hey, can I help? Here's a thing I'd like to do, right? So like it doesn't hurt to ask, even if you don't know the people, because you know, yeah, I've gone to conventions where I've said, like, hey, I've got these out of the box workshops. I'm ready to lead these for you. Would you like them? And I've actually been turned down. You know, it's like, no, we're full up. We got enough. Who are you? You know, and that's not fun. It's not fun to ask somebody out.
Who are you? How did you get in my home? Leave.
There's a
I just want to teach you about comics. Let me in.
Yeah, well, there's a stand-up comic talks about, like, you know, when you ask somebody out and they go, oh, that's very nice. No, you know, and like how that stymies you, and like that's how it can feel sometimes, right? But it doesn't hurt to ask, right? If you don't, that's the first way you get in is by I think
It hurts if
yeah,
they say no.
Well, yeah, you get shot through the heart.
Oh no.
You're finishing it in your own head.
Oh.
You can hear it.
I'm like, I love this topic and I could talk about it forever, but I'm also really frustrated because I don't know how to like answer when the person who can't just ask, like, it's just not in their programming to be able to say, I want to be involved too, and I don't know how to help them like get past that other than like eventually you will, like, how do I be more helpful than that? I don't know.
You know, and another thing that you pointed out
Such
earlier,
a head scratcher.
it's like we're talking about people who may be a little bit introverted or shy. Like it's a whole other ball of wax if you have like real like social anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You know, clinical social anxiety.
This happens. But actually, the percentage of comic creators who also exhibit a lot of like social anxieties, that kind of thing. Like I've been running in, or maybe I'm just finding out that now society's making it easier to admit that you have these problems, and then we're finding out that it's actually a lot more common than we used to think. But I actually think the percentage is high among cartoonists, and I don't know if that's just like we were the art kids, like doodling alone in your sketchbook, and then naturally we funneled our way into comics eventually. But we started out the shy kid with the sketchbook who, like, rather than go out and play kickball, like I just stayed at my desk and drew cartoons.
It turned out kickball.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'd so much rather draw like robots and
Kickball.
I can't tell you
You
how
got
many
to kick a ball.
I can't tell you how many recesses I skipped because I was drawing like these like walking animals covered in missiles.
I'm not gonna get over kickball.
That sounds worth it to me, honestly.
I was kid of the '80s. I was trying to come up with a cartoon.
You
You
got
know.
to kick and then run. You got to run and then you could wang a ball at somebody.
I just love how
So much
betrayed.
better than baseball. Kickball.
What was that, Tracy?
I love how betrayed Samantha is right now. Like, don't darken my door.
Can we play kickball at Kids
See,
Read?
we're not all
No, please.
introverts, obviously, but
No. I'm on right now. Do you see the crown? I am playing a role right now.
okay.
I'm gonna
Why?
fret about this later.
Why?
No, because
this is interesting. You're actually doing the thing we're discussing.
And I know it's being recorded, and later I'm going to go hide in a corner and fret about things I might have said that were dumb, which is everything.
Well, that's normal.
But I'm having a good day. I'm having a good anxiety day, so that's good.
Well, can we have a show of hands for everybody who frets over what they say on podcasts, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And what an what an interesting example, because it does like this is a situation where all of us have well, I suppose we have enough trust that nothing bad's going to happen through this podcast experience. We've all done like various types of performances and whatnot. So, but like all this stuff, like someone could observe. It's easy to look at someone in a certain comfortable position, able to execute a given skill, and if you desire that skill, that can seem kind of, I don't know, off-putting or very far away or what have you. But like, obviously, there's a way to build the capacity and find out what barriers are in your way, and maybe some of those need professional facilitation of either coaching or therapy or whatever, depending on how extreme those things are. That's way beyond my expertise. But like, if you're comfortable enough to take the risk, I think that's where we're comfortable in advocating just trying a small thing. We're not trying to be flippant about like if you have a serious issue or disorder or what have you. Mm-hmm. So it depends on your position. It still can feel pretty darn freaking weird if you're stressed out. Like when I was let's see, I was 26 and I was at a tech conference where they had one of the events they had was it was facilitated by like a band director. I can't remember. He's like some kind of really great improv performer. I'm embarrassed I don't remember his name, but this was many years ago. And but what it was a jam session, and like you would stand in line and for different instruments, and then you would get handed your instrument and get on stage, and then they were going through this big song list, right? And you didn't pick whatever. And I was watching this and whatever, and I knew that essentially Black Sabbath's Paranoid was coming up. And it had been many years since I performed in a band on a stage, right? So I did it a lot in high school, whatever. I was crapping myself. Probably literally.
Did you try to change places in line so you got a better song?
That it was impossible to know when people would really finish or whatever and whatnot. So I lucked out, right? Literally, there was a so I was kind of hesitating. Paranoid was just beginning, so I knew that was happening, and I was able to get an empty guitar, and I got on, right? Now peeing and crapping myself in front of a group of people, and like essentially it was like a little hotel conference, medium-sized ballroom thing or whatever. And but I so funny, I got through it, and it did help that there was I had a really friendly face in the crowd, and just a dude there that I knew from work that we were both at the conference together, and it was a monumentally stressful event for me, but I didn't die. That's the end of it. And the final the bonus tag on that is like it went from Black Sabbath Paranoid to I don't know who wrote the song My Girl. Is that? Yeah, exactly. So it went from, and I was like, I think I'm past my comfort zone. So then I ditched, and I whatever. I now lived.
Well, I'm glad that you lived, and it's very reassuring to know that you are not, in fact, a zombie. But that sounds like a really fun event. I've not heard of anything like that before.
Some
terrifying and fun.
Yeah, it was just like a mixer social thing because there's a lot of people who are into software are into music too. So
neat.
Yeah.
The other thing I would throw on this, and again, not to be flippant about public performance, because it is like it's ranked as one of the most stressful things in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah. Like it's
moving.
A lot of polls have been done, and I'm getting some weird slapback. I think it might be from Lee and Samantha's computer. If you guys could just like lean back a little bit, I think what's happening is my audio is bouncing off of you guys and back into the microphone. The silly thing that laptop computers do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is our mic too close to the laptop?
Oh, that might be it. Yep. There we go.
No, because we'll make mic noises.
Oh.
Let's try to set it right here.
Okay.
It sounds great though now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Check 1, 2. Whether the weather be cold or whether the weather be hot. That's good.
on, Jorzy.
You almost call it George.
I almost called you George.
That's what my
sorry.
name translates to.
Continue.
But yeah, so one of the things that I try to remind myself of is I've been booed by hundreds of people before. Like I did the thing where you name the wrong town when you thank the people.
No!
Oh yeah.
You jerk.
And
Why?
not only did I
forget
name
where
the
you
wrong
were?
town, I named a rival town. So,
Oh.
yeah. So anyway. Yeah. The chief of police is there, mayor's there, getting booed by all these people. Really sucked when it happened, but it's a great story to tell.
Oh, dude.
So like these things, like even when you bomb or you have a really bad performance or like something goes terribly wrong, usually that adds up to a really cool story to tell after the fact, right?
Mhm.
Even as bad as it feels when it happens, because it felt terrible. I felt awful driving home that day.
I think, isn't that Ryan Estrada's like MO? Like that's his whole thing. Like this is gonna be a great story.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that you can't go very wrong following his examples that way. But yeah, the other thing that I think of is I once did a workshop at the Kennedy Center, a comics workshop, and it's the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, right? Not the visual arts necessarily. So it was weird. It was like a new thing they were experimenting with by having a cartoonist teach a drawing workshop at there, and it was about teaching teachers to teach comics classes. So I was like super excited about this opportunity, right? Turns out that these teachers, some of these teachers, not all of them, but some of the teachers were especially nervous about my class because the act of putting something on paper is permanent, feels permanent. Whereas doing a dance, doing an improv, doing tabula rasa is impermanent. It's ephemeral. It goes away. So even if I have a bad performance, it's gone. Right? Unless you're recording it, it goes away, right?
Yeah.
Everything's recorded now, though.
I know that. I know that feel, bro.
But I mean, it seems like it's easier to iterate and improve upon those kinds of things than say like the mini comic I did in 1995 that you can actually find online if you really want to. It's awful. It doesn't look very good, but it's like I can't do anything about that now.
Sam is trying really hard not to go find it right now. I saw you tits up. You're like, I'm gonna find it.
No, actually, I was thinking, and that's why I deleted my archive. They've been up long enough; they can go down.
I leave them up. I leave up all of my old comics I did when I was in my early 20s for my students. So
see, Jersey's got the guts.
10 years was enough. I had to take it down.
He knows those comics are going to be helpful to someone.
Yeah.
Because you like, and actually, I think webcomics have probably done more to get people into drawing comics than mainstream comics did, because it was a bunch of people just like you learning very publicly how to draw and make comics. And you look at page 1, you look at the latest page, and you're like, that person got so much better. I can do that too. And it's like, webcomics really kind of kicked that into gear for me too. But I love that you said that live performance is considered one of the most stressful or difficult to do things. Like, I think I probably would have been better off had I not known that. Now I know it's supposed to be scary and stressful.
It's science.
More scary and stressful. The way I do it is I don't know that I can't.
That's a good asset to not know your limitations.
Mhm.
Impish sense of adventure and whatnot. But like I think reframing, like what could you call this differently that would then make it more comfortable, right? Like I'll get a good story out of this, or hey, Ryan Estrada did it, or something like that, right? I mean, any kind of like do you do any kind of reframing of like the upcoming nervous thing?
I don't know if I kind of. Well, I don't know. My motivations are going to be different. Like the live streams, I kind of grit my teeth and got through my fears because I felt I owed it, because it's one of the perks of my Patreon. I have people putting up money for my project, and some of them I know claim that reward level for the live streams, so it's like I have to. Like, I really don't want to disappoint or let anyone down or feel like I've not fulfilled that part of the agreement. The band thing, now that I probably do, because that's purely, like, I have to motivate myself to do that 100%, not because I don't feel like I owe that to anybody. That one's...
You owe it to you.
Well,
You practice like 4 times a day.
Well, no, I don't.
4 hours a day.
You're exaggerating. But I did pick up and decide to learn a guitar because I wanted to, because it looked fun, and I'd always wanted to. It was like a very long-held dream. The kind of the art performance and doing conventions and tabling, that side of, and like workshops, I guess that all serves the project. Like, I know the more I do, the more I get involved, just the more people eventually will see my comic, or the more I'll learn and benefit my own work. So that kind of has a purpose, like an end to it. And I can think about that rather than about how scared I am about it, I guess. Yeah, does that? I don't know if that was an answer or.
Super useful. Because what I heard is that you by attaching accountability, right, to it, where you put something out there, other people bought into it, and now you're accountable to them, right? I mean, in some ways, that's why some folks will declare their goals publicly, or while you might try to sell a thing, and once you sell it, it's like, oh, and now I've got to deliver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
that's
why
totally
you would
cool.
do a webcomic.
Yep.
Updating.
Yeah, the weekly deadline. Yeah.
Visual. Oh yeah. It's a great sort of. Maybe it's not exactly the reframing, but I think it's like that kind of technique, right? Where all of a sudden I've got this. I see it differently now because this thing's involved, right? Whether it's a frame where I've kind of filtered it and I'm looking at it in a different light, or like that, like commitments or whatnot. I don't know. I think those are really handy.
All the stuff that I do, like, I think the fact that I pull the trigger and do it is because I've done that reframe. I've done whatever mental karate I need to do to get myself, to be like to the black belt level where I can just do it. Yeah, like that does help. It has to. Otherwise, I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
It does help to have motivation where you can easily reach for it. Like if you're feeling kind of down. Like earlier, you said that you do a lot of things because you don't know that you can't.
I jokingly said that.
Well, I believe I'm pretty sure that Neil Gaiman said something along those lines in his Make Good Art speech, which it's like a half-an-hour speech that he did. If you somehow managed to miss it, it's fantastic.
Now it's a book.
Now it's a book that was laid out by my favorite graphic designer, Chip Kidd. Fantastic book. I love it. He did such a good job. But it's an amazingly inspirational speech for any kind of art you might do.
I get teary-eyed, like legit.
Yeah, there's a little weeping, a little misty, but it's one of those things. I've got a link to it immediately. Like if I'm having a down day and it's like I'm never going to be able to do this, it's awful. I need that inspirational word, and it just kind of will motivate you. So having something to do like a backup motivation is always good, and it'll help you break out of whatever fug you're in.
Yeah, that's exactly where I wanted to go next, is that this idea of, like, a story I've often told on the show is when I'm teaching, I feel that I owe my students the full performance of me as a teacher. Like, I don't get to walk into class and go, like, hey, you know what, kids, Jersey's got a headache. He's going to sit over here, here's some crayons, doodle, free draw, I don't care.
We're going to talk real quiet today, guys. Jersey has a headache. He's going to have some coffee, and we're going to put our heads down on our desk.
Yeah, I don't get to do that. They always get 100% of my full-on persona, performance, whatever you want to call it. So, like, there are days where I'll be, like, really dragging, like, right up to the doorway. I'll be like, oh, and then as soon as I cross that threshold, bam, I'm on, because they deserve it, right? So how do you guys think about that? How do you balance that? Because you can't, Samantha, you can't be feeling like Lauren Bacall, feet up on the table, Samantha, all
How blunt should I be with this?
there's a clean tag on this show. You can be as blunt as you want as long as you don't use the grown-up words.
The big words.
Xanax. That's for emergencies. No, I try to keep a good balance with my social anxieties. I try to keep some spoons in reserve. So, which is if you know someone with anxiety or have anxiety or depression or something, look up the spoon theory. That will explain it perfectly to you. But yeah, I keep spoons in reserve when I know that I'm gonna have a big emotionally draining thing that's coming up, socially, emotionally, everything. I build up to it if it's something that I know is going to happen, so I can plan for it. And I always have my little emergency bottle of Xanax in case I have a severe panic attack. Which I haven't had many of those lately. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it when my brain doesn't make me feel terrible.
I think a really good analog version of that is, like, if I know I'm going to have a show this weekend, I actually give my fingers and my hands time to rest since my last practice before I build right up to the show. And then it's kind of like you're saving up energy in reserve. It's like I'm not going to go into it with sore fingers and achy hands and like, you know, my neck or my shoulder gets sore from holding the guitar. It's like giving yourself time to heal and recharge, I think, is important. And you can kind of, like, well, I know I'm going to have 2 conventions this month, so go light on the other social obligations so I can save my energy for that. And, like, because no one's inexhaustibly up. You know, you can't be full throttle 100% of the time. That's just crazy.
You can, but you have to be very manic.
Those people scare me.
It's like you're not going to go on a road trip with a quarter tank of gas. You got to fill the tank, man.
Yeah, got to fill the tank. That
So
helps.
how does Lee Cherolis fill the tank?
Ooh, well,
Coffee.
So it's like, what do I do for fun? I love.
Fill campfire.
Oh yeah, I grill. I love making a fire in the fire pit. Watch a movie. You know, the really good relaxed stuff. You know, the relaxing fun stuff to do. Get a lot of sleep. Get a lot of sleep.
Yeah, it's the stuff that
I'm really
people
good at
that
sleep.
don't do comics do every day.
Mm-hmm. But I have to.
We do normal people things.
We have to plan it and make time for it.
Okay, on the schedule now we've got we're gonna have a barbecue and we're gonna watch a movie and we can have 1, 2. If we're feeling saucy, you can have 3 beers. You know, that kind of thing.
Well, like, I know I'm not being super, like if I'm getting, like, kind of blocked artistically, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be really productive tonight. I'll go to bed early, and then I'll try again. Like, I'll get up a little bit earlier because I won't be so tired, and then I'll hit that same page again in the morning and be, oh God, I got through it. Like, or I just jumped to a different part of the panel.
You get up early in the morning. It's mad.
Yeah, it's like not trying to fight up. Not try to fight against the current, like knowing when you're just expending way too much effort when it's just not going to work, and to come back to it, like
Be a salmon.
yeah. So yourself.
You're listening.
You're derailing me so
I'm
much.
sorry, I've hit goofy mode. I don't know what happened.
But you're listening to your body. It sounds like.
Yes, I've become better at not wasting effort. Like, it's just being more efficient with it, I guess.
And by the way, sleep is the best, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We get so much sleep tonight. It's gonna be great.
Mhm.
I mean, I resent that we have to do it, but I love doing it.
I know, because we could be drawing.
You could be drawing. but you could also be sleeping. You know what I've discovered is the best ever? Naps.
Naps are pretty good.
Naps are great.
Naps are a lot.
Why did I take advantage of nap time when I was younger? I didn't know that they were just the best. I resisted, but they're so good, so good and perfect. Nap time.
If
I had a nap today. It was great. That's why I'm on right now. I had a nap.
Rob and I have been kicking around this whole like up fair conference for cartoonist retreat thing. We talked about that in an extra lean recently, and I think one of the things that if we ever did do something like that, nap time would have to be in there, right?
Yes.
Here's the full programming schedule, but then we're gonna have milk and we're gonna lay down and have a nap, right?
At like 3 o'clock, nap time.
By the way, my vote for bringing back up fair or a cartoonist retreat, like you really need to.
And put nap time on that schedule. I'll be down with that. I'll bring the sleeping bags.
Midwest Cartoonist Conference.
Yes. Oh gosh, I know the webcomic version of that. The New England Webcomics Weekend is kind of coming back. They're doing Tomato Con.
Yes. I saw that double take you did. It was great.
Yeah.
Do it again.
The Tomato Co. people are bringing back their convention, and I applied to it. Did you apply to it?
No, because I am going to help you with your table.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'll have anything ready for it by then.
That's fine. That's cool. But I think their submissions are. I don't know when they closed. I think.
Did they close? Or still
Mid-April, I think.
Oh, wait. What month is it? April?
Yeah,
it's April.
It's April. But I love those things because like the big conventions feel like, like media events that are for autographs and celebrities and stuff, and they used to be about comics, or they used to be more about comics, and they kind of still are, but not enough for my taste. Like that's why I love Kids Read in particular, because it's so comics focused and teaching focused and so much fun. I love SPX because it's so independent comics focused, and people are there for the art and the comics, like for real. Like no one's there getting. Well, you are getting your book signed, but no one's there just to shake hands with a celebrity, that kind of thing. Like, oh, those are the shows that make it for me. Like, do the cartoonist retreat already.
You mean the ones that don't have the big TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I never get to go to San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, apparently it's like
or
close
Emerald
in size
City,
to Gen
or
Con,
New
so we
York.
know how to handle something that big.
No, it's much bigger than Gen Con.
Really?
Yeah. It's like
I've been lied to.
Have you guys done TCAF yet?
TCAF? Yeah, we did TCAF last year.
Okay, because that one's another one where it's like it's all about the comics.
It was wonderful.
It's gorgeous, but that was the one I had trouble at. I couldn't. I was having problems. I think I was very Indiana sick.
I think you
in
were
Toronto.
You were really low on spoons.
I had no spoons that weekend.
Oh.
That's really tough. Like sometimes you do have to you have a bad show, or it's really you don't feel at your best, and it's really hard and draining and difficult, and you start questioning whether it was worth it, and those are hard, and hopefully they don't come too often, but the next one was so much better, and it's like, but that it is still an incredible experience just because of the sheer number of people that we're fans of that were there, and
just because I didn't do well doesn't mean that this was an amazing show. It was absolutely incredible, and I have tell you a secret. Tell you a secret. I can't really go to conventions unless I'm tabling because I am incredibly uncomfortable attending conventions. I need that table in front of me. But TCAF was one of those conventions that I would have loved to just be attending as well, because there was
and it's at
every
a
single person that I've ever admired online was there. Every one of them.
Funny how so many of these shows that I really enjoy are at libraries.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect, like, the normal, like, when you're getting, like, I want to break into comics, you don't think about library shows.
I want to break into libraries.
I want to break into libraries, so that's for sure.
Steal all their comics. No! I'll borrow them, because they let you do that. They let you borrow things from libraries. That's the point of libraries.
I'm sorry we hijacked your podcast.
Sorry.
No. What I mean, obviously I am biased and I have skin in this game because I co-organize a comics event that's held at a library. But one of the things that holding it in the library does is it changes the complexion of the show because it's free and open to the public, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a $20 cover charge, and there's no $20
yeah, everyone's
fee.
so happy to be there.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like it's really the pressure of like a mainstream show is lifted off when you make it just like a free open thing where it's like just wander in and have fun, right? So,
Mm-hmm. Do you think people are like, they seem so like happy that you're there, like you there specifically because like, and is that something to do with it was free, so they feel like, oh, you're here even though it's a free show. Thank you so much for being here for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's part of it because like when it's a free show like that, it's like everything is just like a delightful surprise. And I think also like when you think about like local like free shows, you think it's gonna be like flea market, bazaar, right? Maybe it'll be some people with some like old like Mego action figures for sale or something. You don't expect it to be somebody who actually made this handcrafted wonderful thing, right? Also, I think that the shows where those kinds of shows, the towns where those shows exist, tend to be towns that can support those kinds of shows where they have the culture, right? Mm-hmm. Like Toronto, Ann Arbor are both towns where like the local populace, like they actually want to discover new things, right? Mm-hmm. They're not just there to like, I'm an Aquaman man and my son's going to be an Aquaman man, right?
My son's going to be a teen boat man.
Well done. Well done.
Oh, hey, yes.
Everybody should be Teen Boat. There's a new book coming out.
Yes, Sweet. They should. Best tagline for a comic ever.
Yes.
The angst of being a teen and the thrill of being a boat.
That's so great. Yes, I will link to it in the show notes. But I want to respect your guys' time. So, is there any last piece of advice that you give to people about like getting up in front of your work, or did we cover it up?
It's so worth it. It's so worth it. Like, it's scary, yeah, and you don't know if you can do it at first, and maybe it takes you a while to take the first step, but just know that I don't want to just make a sweeping declaration. The worst thing can happen is this. Like, no, the worst thing the absolute worst thing that can happen is that you never try it, and then you don't get to experience how awesome it is.
I don't know, explosions could be pretty bad.
I mean, it's like there's so many plus sides. It's self-promotion, everyone will tell you, is like necessary. It's so hard to build something if you're not accessible, if you're not visible. You need to, like show up in Google searches. Like everything you do just adds to that. Like put your name on everything. It's like I do this, I do this, I do that. Look at all the things that I've done. Don't hide them. But it's so worth it. It's like, I don't know. Like it's so great because it's great, and I think it's great.
Authenticity. You just give it a try and see if it turns out great.
Ooh, that's a really good point. Like, I love that. It's that fear. It's that imposter syndrome thing where you feel like I'm faking it. I'm a fraud. I shouldn't be here.
No.
Like, that's.
Shush.
No.
You can do it. Yeah. You're not a fraud.
Exactly. The word that you said was authenticity. Yeah. Like, you
authentically love what you're doing.
Oh yeah, like that love for the craft or the medium is real. No one can take that from you or deny that you're not a real fan because you love it. You feel that. I love comics. I love them.
They can never take that away from me.
As long as you're authentic about it. If you don't really love comics, then maybe don't try.
If you don't love comics, why are you doing comics? Get out. Go home.
There's the door.
Seriously. Let it hit you on the way out because you deserve it.
Wow, harsh.
I have opinions about enjoying what you do. If you do it because you want to make money, no.
Well, money helps.
Like if that's the only reason you're doing it, get the hell out, man. You have to legitimately love what you do.
I see a lot of professionals managing expectations, like don't get into it for the money, and then I wish that wasn't always the case. Like, I wish we could make the living at the wonderful thing we love to do, and a lot of people do. It's a lot of hard work, though, but
Yeah.
it's so worth it.
Well, speaking of making a living at it, and I think that's a great place to close, is people should go right now, if they enjoyed this episode, and I know they did, they should head over to patreon.com/littleguardians.
You have a Patreon?
I have a Patreon.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it's great, and you can support this wonderful comic that you will enjoy, I guarantee it, and you will get access to extra stuff. Like, let's see what we got in here. If you pledge $3 or more a month, you get in-progress artwork and progress updates from the week's new page, days before the final art goes up, so you get to see the process. You get to see the page come together. You'll be credited in the book as a special thank you for your patronage. $5 or more a month, you get to participate in the live streams.
Yep.
You'll be notified and gain access to a live stream where Lee is working on the week's page.
Special extra bonus on the live streams that isn't really listed there. Sometimes I hop in with them, and I'll sass you.
I actually want to do... I should put that on the Patreon page because I do want to bring in guests and make the live streams a lot of fun. And Sam's been helping me try that out, and she's been great.
So
See, Sam's help so much.
Sam's doing the Mark Kistler where she comes in with like the dragon hand and says, like, yes,
Commander Mark.
Actually, yes, I've done that several times.
In that instance, we do both laptops, so I'll lean over and I can go on her screen. We have both our office. You can't see it from the laptop screen, but we have our desks set up side by side. And so when she's working on her comics, I'm working on mine. We're right here. I can reach over and pat her on the shoulder. It's really beneficial work setup experience, and it makes the live streams a lot of fun and goofy.
And speaking of Samantha,
Sam,
hi. What?
Where can people go to find your stuff online?
Ooh, well, the most
recent,
the most easiest of ever time, place, in space to find me.
Where are you the most active?
Twitter and Tumblr.
Twitter, Tumblr, and now Facebook. You've been sharing a lot of pony illustrations on Facebook.
Yes! I do have a band page, musician page on Facebook.
But Twitter and Tumblr, so that's
Tumblr.
Samantha Kyle on Twitter and Samantha Kyle on Tumblr?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Samantha Kyle on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Though the other bit on Facebook is the Incredible Apple Sass.
Oh yeah, that's Sam's band persona. Is the Incredible Apple Sass.
Don't you giggle at that. You should guffaw at that.
I'm exceedingly cool with that.
It's her version of Applejack.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
That is awesome. Yeah, so I've got I had your Tumblr up on the screen so people can go to it, samanthakyle.tumblr.com and on Facebook. So
I love your pony illustrations. They're so cute.
Oh, yes.
Way cute. Okay, well, guys,
Coming
thank you so much for this awesome discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Yay.
Yeah.
And then, so
back sometime, Samantha and Lee. That was. Thank you.
So, in closing, I should say, if any of the leaners enjoyed this episode in particular, a great way they can thank us is to go to iTunes and give us a review, a star review. You don't even have to write a full review, but if you write a full review, that makes us very happy, makes us feel good. If you're watching the video, giving it a thumbs up, that helps more people find the show. If you really got something out of this, if you're like, oh my gosh, this show, I look forward to it every week, you go to our Patreon, patreon.com/leaningtoart, that you can chip in $1 a month to help support the efforts and compensate us for our time for making the show every 2 weeks. With that said, we'll be back in 2 weeks, Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And, gosh, thanks everybody for downloading, listening, and watching and supporting us on the Patreon. Until next time, I have been Jersey Drozd of leanintoart.com and Jersey on Twitter.
And thank you for me. I've been Rob Stenzinger of leanintoart.com and Rob Stenzinger on Twitter.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Show notes for this episode can be found at leanintoart.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at the user leanintoart, and you can reach us via email at leanintoart@gmail.com. And remember, leaners aren't wieners. Thanks for listening.
and finished with 4 minutes to spare. Thanks everybody for watching the stream. I'm going to shut off the stream now. Good night.
Yay,
Good night, guys.
Bye.